Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Historic Brawl. We're gonna have a look at Sorin, Solemn Visitor, which is a new commander from Tarkir, a new vampire tribal commander. And if you want to know one thing about me, is that vampires are actually my favorite tribe in Magic. I love Orzhov and I love sacrificing, gaining life, paying life, all very vampire themes, and this deck is built around those themes and support the archetype. The commander is, well, on first glance, it might not be that great, but you might be surprised about what he can actually do. But yeah, the deck is just a vampire tribal deck, you know, with a typical vampire support. We have early game vampires, like one of my favorite 1-drops of all time, Knight of the Even Legion. Then we have some sacrifice outlets like Tarian's Journal, which is, in my opinion, underrated. I almost never see it being played, but it has been nothing but gas whenever I played it. We also have some sacrifice support. Of course, our commander creates tokens which can be sacrificed, but we also have things like Bloodghast, which is basically a free sacrifice every turn if you can return it. Especially good with Tarian's Journal. It's a free card draw every turn. Very nice combo. Nothing new, but nice nonetheless. Then, of course, in a vampire tribal deck with Sorin being our commander, we can't forget about all the other good Sorin cards. For example, Imperious Bloodlord and Sorin the Mirthless. Very good cards, especially this one in a vampire tribal deck. Yeah, then we have other vampire-centric support cards like Champion of the Dusk, drawing us a lot of cards, and Dracula the Voyager, or rather Edgar Charmed Groom. Now, you could make an argument for, okay, isn't Edgar Charmed Groom just a better commander compared to Sorin Solemn Visitor? And you might be right, you might very well be right, but maybe the Planeswalker is actually better than you think. Well, just have to see and find out. Alright, we're up against Raphael Fiendish Savior, a Tiefling, Devil, Demon and Imp commander. It's gonna be quite interesting. You don't see that one too often. Unfortunately, we do go a second, but we have some ramp. We also have a potential board clear if he has strong opening. Some plays, yes, 2-lander is risky, but with an additional ramp card, and we're going to draw another card because we go second. It should be fine. So turn 1 we might as well play the Shattered Sanctum, because we don't have anything other to do. Now we're gonna play the Abandoned Mire, Cold Steel Heart for white, pass to opponent. Opponent has a very slow opening, which of course you always love to see. Now we can already play our commander, get some value going. Hopefully opponent doesn't have instant speed interaction. Opponent bedevils, that is fine. Back to the command zone you go. We still got some value out of it. Now we're playing the Silent Clearing. Champion of Dusk doesn't make much sense, so it would be mana efficient, but I think playing the 3 Weird Sisters can draw a card and attack. Potentially next turn if our opponent only plays 1 card, 1 creature. Could have sacrificed it. Now the Forge can be scary, but considering opponent had a very slow start, I don't think it's gonna be too relevant. Now I think the safest play, so we don't put all our eggs into creature basket, is playing our commander again, minusing for yet another vampire creature token. We're gonna transform Henrika and attack with both. Keeping this token back to block whatever spawns out of the Forge. This is fine. I don't mind trading. Oh, opponent Reckless Rages instead. I don't know if that's the right play, but okay. Now, unfortunately, we didn't draw another land. So I think playing the Champion of Dusk, drawing 3, pretty much guaranteed to draw a land. Well, guaranteed might be a little bit generous, but likely, I suppose. Then we can play a Bloodcaster, +1 our Sorin, and attack. Hitting for 6 lifelink. It's looking pretty good. Our opponent does need a board clear of some kind. Decadent Dragon. I don't think that's gonna do it. Can block with the Champion of Dusk. Maybe he has some trick, but it's fine. We gain lifelink, and yeah. Opponent concedes. He would have just won, we could have +1'd him, swung out and just killed him. Very good first game, more aggressive. To be fair, our opponent didn't do much, so that always makes it a little bit easier, but certainly showed that the +1 does in fact can get value, even though it's not amazing. Fun game. Alright, our next game against Joda the Unifier. A very overrated commander in my opinion. Just when it comes down, just kill it, don't let it live, and you're gonna be fine. This is a very nice opening hand. We have a turn 1 play, turn 2 ramp. We have Welcoming Vampire, Grave Pact. Now, opponent having a turn 1 mana dog and going first. This might actually enable him to win if we don't draw one of our removal cards. Opponent gets yet another mana dog and has removal. No, Shadow Spear. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. We desperately need to draw removal in our next draw, basically. Otherwise, opponent can untap with Joda and probably win the game, because he had the best opening and went first, and I don't draw anything of value. What we can do next turn is play Welcoming... Wait, what? Okay. Interesting. Opponent is land screwed, but did draw a lot of mana dogs, so next turn he can still play Joda. This gives us a little bit more time, which is exactly what we need. We're gonna play the Welcoming Vampire and play our Sky Marcher, so that we may draw, unless he has instant speed removal, like Lightning Bolt? Do you have Lightning Bolt? No. Okay, let's see what we get. We get another land. Not amazing. We might as well attack. We still desperately need to draw one of our removal spells. If we do that, I think we're in a pretty good spot. If we don't, then it can get very scary. Luckily, our opponent still appears to be land screwed, but he can play Joda now. But he's thinking about it? What's there to think about? You just do it. Yeah. Opponent plays Joda, so now we definitely have to draw a land, which we didn't. Now this is problematic. What we can do is play our commander and Phyrexian Tower. Yeah, I think playing our commander, -2ing to draw an additional card with the Welcoming Vampire. Dark Ritual. Okay, that's good for the next turn. Gonna play the Phyrexian Tower, because next turn we can do shenanigans with Grave Pact, but we do have to actually live until next turn. I think I'm gonna hold back... Yeah, I'm gonna hold back all 3 of them, just in case. Now, opponent, if he gets lucky, he might just win the game right here. But yeah, unfortunately we didn't draw any removal. Of course, then Joda is great. If you untap with Joda... Okay, opponent has Kogla and Yidaro, because of course he has. And what other bolt does he hit? Archmage? Fantastic. Now it's looking very bad. It's looking very bad indeed. Gonna kill the Welcoming Vampire. Okay. Pass to attack us. I mean, I think we're just gonna let it through. There isn't much point in blocking here. We need those cards to sacrifice them, so... Grave Pact triggers. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure we lost because, you know, just didn't draw anything good and the opponent had a really strong opener. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try. Okay. Now, let's see. Definitely gonna play Dark Ritual for the Grave Pact. Then we're going to use the Phyrexian Tower, sacrifice a creature, sacrifice our Duskborn Sky Marcher. Opponent needs to sacrifice one of his cards. He has a lot of fodder to sacrifice, of course, which is pretty bad for us. Then we're gonna play the Journal. Sacrifice another one of our creatures. Opponent sacrifices his Archmage Eternal instead of a mana dog. Interesting. So he's gonna have a play in his hand where he needs 6 mana. That's the only reason he would do it like this. Just gonna play our Markov Baron and pass the turn. There's much more that we can do here. And we're still not looking great, don't get me wrong, but there might be a chance. If opponent whiffs his next Joda activation, we might have a chance. If he gets a strong card again, then, you know, it's probably gonna be GG, but we'll try. We'll try and see. What did he get? Oh, of course. Radagast, huh? Yeah, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he get Radagast? Yeah. more triggers, draw multiple cards. I mean, the game's pretty easy. Look, I'm happy with games where either me or my opponent can go off. You know, it's fine. We know at least our opponent's having fun, so that's good enough for me, right? So we're gonna block with one, and we're not gonna block with the other one, so we can sacrifice it to the journal and draw another card. Another miracle card. I don't even know what would save us here, but let's see. Maybe we can find something. Okay, first order of business is sacrificing. Now we can either sacrifice the knight to the tower or the journal. So hard to say which is the correct play here. But I do think drawing first is probably better. So we're gonna sacrifice it to the journal. Opponent needs to sacrifice one of his cards as well. We did draw Legion Lieutenant, which isn't gonna save us, but it's better than nothing. So now we're gonna play the Lieutenant, sacrifice the Lieutenant to the Phyrexian Tower. Add 2 more Plague mana. One needs to sacrifice another card. Then we're gonna play our Gifted Aetherborn, which has Death Touch, so it can block, kill a creature, and trigger Grave Pact, kill another creature. Actually very good. And play our Drana, Liberator of Malakir. And yeah, we might be able to slowly stabilize, but if our opponent keeps hitting gas off of Joda, then very difficult to deal with. Journey to Eternity. Oh, okay. If that isn't gas, I don't know what is. That's bad. That's definitely bad. Eomir. Okay, gets another activation. Cathis. Okay, opponent wants to make sure that his Joda dies. Well, we're definitely going to block the Eomir, kill it, and he needs to sacrifice 2 more creatures, which of course he just can do. It's fine. And we draw a Godless Shrine. That's exactly what we need. I do think we need to sacrifice our Cold Heart, maybe get something else. Otherwise, this is looking like GG. I mean, it's not great. But we can play Sorin -2. Oh, we already used the Phyrexian Tower. Right. Yeah, I don't think there's anything could have done. Opponent just got down his Joda very early and we didn't draw any of our removal cards. Grave Pact was very strong, but opponent kept hitting gas with Joda and we couldn't deal with it, so yeah, we let our opponent have a little bit more fun, but this is definitely lost. But good for him. Let's see what else he plays. He's probably ecstatic that he gets to hop off with Joda that much. No, he gets protection. Kogla has trample, another 3. Yeah, we're just dead on board. Opponent hits our face with everything. We just die, but we're not gonna... Okay, opponent, if you would have attacked with this, then... Oh, it still wouldn't have been lethal, technically. 19, but it's fine. We're gonna give him the good game. There's no point playing this out, and we're conceding. Yeah, I mean, I stand by what I said. I suppose it's sort of karma that I said, oh, Joda isn't actually that good, he's overrated. Yeah, he is, but of course, if he gets to untap with it and 5 turns without me drawing any removal in my Orzhov deck, yeah, sure, of course, then it's good. Him hitting Kogla and Yudaro on his first hit, yeah, that's good, right? But in any other universe where I actually draw some of my cards that I need, we would have won this, and I stand by it. Yeah, opponent had a sick opening, and probably a lot of fun with Joda, so that's good enough for me, and we got our slightly longer game, even though we lost, so yeah, it's fine. Still a fun game, still a fun game. Alright, our next game is against Horobi Death's Wail. That's a really cool and unique commander. It can be very powerful, but if you don't draw the right cards, in my experience, it doesn't do too much, to be honest. But opponent does go first, which helps him, of course. Now, this is a tricky one. I don't think keeping this hand is necessarily correct, because we don't really have any strong early game plays, and we go second, so it seems to be too slow. I would keep this if I was going first, then it's fine. But going second, it's too slow, because he's likely just gonna remove my cards anyway. I need to flood the board to have a chance. 4 lands is nice, of course, but yeah. I think we need more early game plays against the enemy commander. Now, this hand isn't amazing either, but Adonto's pretty good. The Indestructible actually gets around the enemy's commander's effect, so I think we'll keep this. And I don't want to go down to 6. Now, as first turn, we're just gonna activate our Fabled Passage and get the planes. Yes, it's optimal to wait for the opponent's end step and then crack the Fabled Passage, but honestly, it's too annoying. Trespasser's Curse, that's actually fine. We gain a lot of life in this deck, so I don't care. Now we're gonna play Adonto Vanguard. Opponent does need exile removal. Now the most annoying thing about Adonto Vanguard is that it makes a stop on every one of your turns, so you constantly have to click, which is pretty annoying. Nighthawk Scavenger. Okay, that's an interesting card to be playing in that deck. Now I think the right play is to play Cavern of Souls for Vampire. And first of all, we just attack here. Opponent's not gonna block. Punch through. Now we're gonna play Bloodghast, because next turn can sacrifice it to the journal and return it to the battlefield. Swords to Plowshares. Now, I think keeping Swords to Plowshares open until the opponent's end step, we're definitely gonna use it, either on his Nighthawk Scavenger or something more scary that he plays now. Let's see what he does. Blood Pact. Okay. Might as well just remove the Nighthawk Scavenger then. This is looking pretty good. We have an indestructible threat and a recursive threat. You love to see it. Now, first of all, we're gonna attack. Then we're gonna play the journal. Use it to sacrifice our Bloodghast. Draw a card. And play Castle Locthwain. Return the Bloodghast and pass the turn. Yeah, the Bloodghast and the journal is a very cool interaction. It's basically a free +1 draw every card. Now, of course, this is very unfortunate that he has this, because this goes around the indestructible. But you know, sometimes the opponent just draws the right card, it's fine. Unless he has something else, though, we are still looking pretty good. Opponent sees our synergy with the journal. He knows that we just get every turn we get an additional draw, basically for free, and he doesn't want to deal with it and concedes. Alright, fair enough. Alright, this deck was actually a lot more fun than I thought, or rather the commander was more fun than I thought. Don't get me wrong, Edgar is just a better commander, but if you want a different vampire commander that also gives you access to Orzhov and Planeswalker do have their benefits, this is actually pretty cool, better than I thought. Yes, Sorin the Mirthless is technically just a better card, a better Planeswalker, but you do only have access to black mana if you use him, right? So this is actually better in the 99, and this is better as a commander. But yeah, it's still not super strong, not super great, but it is fun. A nice little vampire commander that gives you some value and can help to close out games, as you could see. Now, of course, you see that we run a lot of removal. Like Vanishing Verse wouldn't have actually done anything against Joda, but we do run like Feed the Swarm, Heartless Act, Infernal Grasp, we run Anguished Unmaking, etc. So if you would have drawn any of those, the last game would have gone different, but that's just sometimes how it goes, you know? You do need to draw your removal. That's kind of the negative aspect of it. You could also make an argument for playing more removal. I wouldn't say no to that, but that's sort of a preference. And if you play too much removal, then you don't draw actual creatures, so it's always a two-edged sword, right? But I hope you enjoyed the game, got a little bit of vampire action, which is always nice. If you liked the video, leave a like, and if you want to see more Historic Brawl content, subscribe and make sure to not miss out the next episodes. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I see you the next time.